I said, give me a hell yeah.
Oh, I fucked up the wrong button.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to, it's going to be hard to do this week because that is a terrifying image of ABADONING. Woo, look at that eyeball popping out of her head. So, welcome to a ABADONING, tricep annihilating, orange Cassidy pulp squeezing episode of the Brothers of Discussion. We're going to talk everything from AEW's Young Guns, except for Billy, rising to the top. We're going to talk about New Day taking a knee. And, Matt, looks like, once again, the return of tag team wrestling. Matt, you know, another week of me getting a Como's pepperoni, jalapeno, and honey pizza.
Wow!
It's delicious. It's spicy. Every week of wrestling is spicy. Matt, I only got this pizza because I had a real rough day at work. It was a Nia Jax day at work, and Becky went, I just name dropped my lady. So now you can search Becky. Becky bought me a nice pizza to make me feel better. So
that's right,
Matt,
Becky Clink.
Matt, how's life over there on the prairie?
Just because I'm out in Howell. I don't know what to call it. Yeah, I guess the prairie works. It's doing good. I posted on Twitter that I was putting together my deck canopy, and that's why if I sound a little tired, that will be it, because it was one of those things that I thought would be like an hour-long project. And let's see, it's 7:46. I finished dinner at like 7, a little after 7. So I started working on it at 10, and then I finished at 6:45. So that was an all-day project. I'm super stoked, though. It looks pretty sweet.
Nice.
But, yeah, I'm excited. Mike, you'll be coming over hopefully next week. We've got some friends. I'm looking at the camera now in case they... You know who I'm talking about. If you fuck this up, there's no coming back. You better show up.
We coming for you,
sucker. All right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Now find the rest of the Brothers of Discussion content at brothersofdiscussion.com, bodpodcast.com. Find us on Twitter at bodpodcast. Find the joint Instagram account. Joint, I'll tell you why in a second, at brothers_of_discussion. It's joint because we're getting hot. No, it's joint because we don't do drugs. I don't do drugs. We do a Detroit Red Wings podcast. We hope you'll check out in conjunction with the Hockey Podcast Network.
We got re-up for season 2.
Yeah, we did. Woo! Season 2 for the worst hockey team in the NHL. That's right. You got to be really creative and fun to listen to if you get a contract for season 2 when you're hosting the worst hockey team. Well, one of the worst ever. Anyway, so you've got the Instagram. We have the YouTube channel we hope you're checking out. That is just the Brothers of Discussion. But Mike, let's jump into some pro wrestling right after. Actually, we're doing shout outs on the hockey podcast. Let's do it here too. Today I am enjoying from Aberrant Ale, a wonderful beer called Mother of Mayhem. Came out, I'm pretty sure, on Mother's Day because it's not only Mother of Mayhem, but the acronym spells out Mom. It is a wonderful DIPA, which is a double IPA. It is so tasty and flowery. These guys are right down the street from me. If you're in, let's see, Michigan, if you're in the Detroit area, you can make a drive within an hour. It's Aberrant Ale. Absolutely love it. You can see the logo right there. Check it out, everybody. Aberrant Ale.
That sounds pretty good.
All right, and they're not a sponsor. That's just me enjoying their beer, and they're fueling the show that might not have too much to talk about, except some great things.
This was a glass of tequila. It's supposed to be a wine glass, and there's like little lines on there, so you could do like a single pour, a double pour. Yeah. This was 3 fingers of tequila, so I feel pretty good. Pretty good.
Mike,
So,
remember the last time I had 3 fingers of tequila?
Tequila? How many tequilas have you had?
The last time I had 3 fingers of tequila, we were in Las Vegas.
Oh!
You
were spewing all over. Yeah.
You dragged my sorry ass from whatever that mall is at Sammy Hagar's bar.
Oh, it was
kind
of
of the Venetian.
Yeah, that was a long walk.
That's a good story for whenever we start making enough money that people say we care about the Brothers of Discussion live.
Yeah.
So you got.
That was one of our first nights to really enjoy white privilege because a cop, you were doubled over, spewing nonsense and vomit, and you just said, "Just leave me on the bench," and a cop saw us and said, "Just move along." So speaking of white privilege, Matt. SmackDown Friday night. The New Day actually was allowed to not have to subject themselves to the usual, New Day, shenanigans, and they actually got to have a moment on WWE programming on Fox of all places. They took a knee, obviously for the Black Lives Matter moment. Obviously, going out to lives we've lost because of issues with white supremacy, systemic racism. And I thought it was a beautiful moment. But the problem for me, Matt, is that if you watch it on mute, it was the exact same experience as if you had the volume on. Because all of a sudden, Michael Cole had a frog in his throat and had nothing to say. So they didn't acknowledge what New Day was doing. They didn't acknowledge what the movement was about. Both of them were decked out in armbands, name dropping people like Breonna Taylor, and WWE, basically showed their true colors by, posting a pathetic, bland corporate statement and not taking this opportunity to, stand with the New Day. They let the New Day go out and do their thing, but it was, to a muted noise. It was pretty disheartening. I thought this was an opportunity for them to do something.
You might be right. Chances are you're right. There's also a chance that they thought it would be more poetic if they just let the moment happen and they said the last thing we need right now is super white Michael Cole to start blabbing about Black Lives Matter. So I can if somebody told me that's actually what happened, I would go, all right, yeah, that's true. I don't want to hear Michael Cole's stupid face during that moment because it was a beautiful moment. It's the same thing. Like I don't want commentary in my moments of somebody winning a championship. I just want to see them celebrate. And this isn't obviously a jubilation. This is protest in regards to people losing their lives. But is it more poetic? Does it mean more if we don't have... I mean, we all know what's going on. Nobody's missing it. And the fact that the WWE, didn't cut to black... not that no pun intended there, or just go to commercial because of that. I'm gonna say that at least, that's a step. We've always made the argument on our show that did you make a better step than what you've done in the past? And I think that the WWE not cutting to black, letting the moment play out. They did a close-up on Big E and Kofi. They didn't pull away. And the WWE played GIFs later on Twitter. So they said, we support Big E and Kofi. So I'll say maybe not kudos because you're right. They have a big voice and they could be doing way more than what they did. But we've said it before and I'll say it again. I love being a turtle. And they made a better step than they did the last time. They took the better step than they did the last time. And you can't hate that.
No. It's definitely better than, some of the things they've done in the past. It's just, even with those tweets you're referencing, they didn't really say why they were doing that. They couldn't even put a lazy, Black Lives Matter hashtag at the bottom of it. They were just they're getting their entrance. It's just, and I mean, this is the first company to, be patting themselves on the back for, if it's breast cancer awareness or Make-A-Wish, something like that. So it's just,
no,
you're right.
Making the right arguments.
It's better than things they've done in the past, but
no, you're right, Mike. You're right. No, fuck you. You're right.
It's just, I thought we could maybe get a little bit more, because so many of these corporate entities, it's like their responsibility to put out one post and then back off because they're like, well, we said what we wanted to say, and see, we're with everybody else. We're totally supporting this moment, and then just kind of go off into the shadows. But WWE had a chance to kind of double down, and instead they let their wrestlers do it.
If you think about it, Mike, they were bored in the shadows. Sorry, this isn't a time for jokes.
What were you gonna say, Matt? I can't wait to hear it.
I mean, they're a company that, as I watch now, like ads pop up for the Chris Benoit dark side of wrestling, and then there's always steroids. There's always the idea that when WWF started, that they were fighting the "Is Wrestling Real?" story. So it's always been like they're always fighting something, and they're always trying to keep something hush hush and quiet. That was going to be my joke for them being born in the shadows, but there's no reason for it.
If you want to say something after and react, of course, please do. But I'm just going to say, you mentioned, are they doing a little bit better in the past? And let's say hypothetically they did have Michael Cole and Corey say something. Maybe then it would have felt like a produced moment instead of something genuine from the New Day. Something that we've heard from them on their podcast.
I'm pointing at my camera, but I'm pointing at you, Mike.
Additionally,
exactly, kind of, I never got to that point, but that's kind of what I was thinking when I was saying it's more poetic and...
It's just, I hate talking out of both sides of my mouth, but it's just...
Here we go.
If you do that, I'm going to do it. We have prominently seen the New Day, Apollo Crews, Bobby Lashley, the Street Profits, Bianca Belair, Sasha, a lot of R-Truth getting a match with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're definitely letting the black members of the roster kind of get their moment right now. So they've also done a pretty sneakily good job of not saying, hey, we're putting all our black wrestlers on this week. It's just kind of felt natural. It's just kind of felt right. It's felt like a progression of things where it's kind of been like, yeah, why haven't these guys been getting an opportunity before?
Right.
So at the very least, it's a little bit better than before. So just saying, I'm not going to be satisfied, and I don't think you are either, which is fine, but...
We're fighting the good fight. The fight doesn't stop from our perspective, but it's good to see... Like, think about what the fight is supposed to do. We have an end game, but things are supposed to get better. And that's always the word we use, is better. We don't say perfect. And I say we, I mean in regards to every fight that is fought. It seems is for the younger generations against older generations. There's God damn it, I just had his name in my head, but it's the It Gets Better moniker for like the LGBTQ community.
Yeah,
it's always
Dan Savage
better.
Yeah.
Right. It's not perfect yet, but it gets better. It's something. What are we? We're two white guys talking about. Well, at least it's better for them. No, we don't. We're on that side. We're fighting that fight. We'll never understand. We'll never truly understand why the fight needs to be fought. But I'm at least saying, and it's not perfect, and we need to continue the fight. And we could have just started this episode and said, hey, Black Lives Matter won. We're done. No, we're going to keep bringing it up as we should. Same thing we did on our hockey podcast. The absolute worst sport in regards to being inclusive and like spreading its wings and letting others fly. No, it's the absolute worst sport. And we do a podcast for that sport. So we're never going to stop talking about it for that. So
it's let me know when you're sorry. Go ahead.
No, God, go for it. I mean, the main point I'm making is you've got to win battles, and we've won a battle, but the war it's never over. Like even when the Black Lives Matter war is over, I brought up the LGBTQ community. Like, I mean, there's actually sides that butt heads between BLM and LGBTQ. So it's something that even on both of those sides, there's somebody I'm friends with on Facebook. I'm not going to name names, but from LGBTQ that posted "All Lives Matter," and I saw it on Facebook, and it's just like, what the fuck? What are you doing, man?
You gotta like recontextualize.
So, right, and I'm not trying to say this is like that's a broad stroke. I'm saying that there's still a fight to be fought from so many different angles. So even when one battle is won, there's still more to be fought. But that's my main point. So we won a battle. We're not going to celebrate. We're going to keep fighting. But Mike, for you to continue. It's always hard for us to talk because we're just two white guys, and we almost accidentally stole the Black Lives Matter logo. I still get the more and more I see it, I'm like, oh fuck, it's almost exactly the same. But
well, I was going to say kind of a silly point that you talked about hockey and how inclusive it is, or exclusive it is.
Yeah. You have to not only be white, you have to be super rich.
One of my favorite video games is NBA 2K. And my favorite mode is probably franchise mode, because every year you get to, like, you know, build your team, get free agents, and then you also get to do the draft. Now, my question for you, what is the racial diversity in the hockey game? Because I will say in the basketball game, it's mostly black rookies.
Yeah.
For the hockey game, is it mostly white rookies?
You know what's funny is that should be something that's called out from EA Sports. Like, what's the algorithm you're running right now to say, like, this is how many, like,
where's the race algorithm?
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think I've drafted a single guy that is of color. Like, I think everybody I've drafted, and I'll say this, I'm saying everybody I've drafted. So I'm in like 2025, I think, right now. So we're playing NHL 2020, or I should say Chell. So we've gone through the 2020 draft, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So we've got 6 drafts, and the only person of color I have on my team is Giovanni Smith, who's
already in the game.
Already on the team. So over 6 years, I was able to randomly, like, you can't pick. You just get, you know, a random name and some ratings, and then you pick the guy, and then there's a fake, you know, image. Yeah, that's the long and short of it.
Well, moving on, Matt. There's wrestling to talk about. On Sunday was the greatest wrestling match ever. But on Friday, Matt, was it maybe the goodest wrestling match ever? Because fighting for the Intercontinental Championship, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles.
Best thing to come out of this? Promo from AJ Styles ragging on Daniel Bryan. That means the feud will continue.
Yeah, I'm game to see more of that.
Mike, this is the thing. I think we talk all the time, and we're going to be comparing NXT and AEW, where I still say it's not really a fair comparison anymore. But we're always looking for, like, the best wrestling on the planet. And maybe, like, 80% of the time, the WWE isn't really focused on giving you the best pro wrestling matches of all time. But if you're gonna find the greatest matches of all time, and you sleep between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m., which means you're missing New Japan, then
there's a big tournament going on right now. This is why I love wrestling, because New Japan is on. Yeah.
I honestly, everybody, I mean, it's really good, but I mean, on a throwaway SmackDown, that Daniel Bryan, I mean, if you're forcing yourself to say that any of those matches on the New Japan bracket, which unfortunately, Mike, I went through, but I also fast forwarded through and played at 1.5 speed because I don't have the time to also watch New Japan. So you fast forward through it, and you get to like the last 5 minutes, and then you're like, all right, I'll slow down and watch the whole thing. They're all great. I'm not kidding you. Like what you get from New Japan is like 80% of it is fantastic, right? But that 20%, I want to come back to the WWE. The 20% that focuses on pro wrestling is fucking amazing. It really, like, you were watching the greatest wrestlers on the planet, and it's Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, and even as they age, they get even smarter, and they're figuring out, like, what have I done for the last 10 years, and I need to do something different. Mike, that ending to that match, like, let's not forget that they didn't just go finisher. That's fine. Like, I get why that's cool, because we go back to, like, January where I made the Dragon Ball Z argument.
Yeah.
That's why New Japan's so great, because it's Dragon Ball Z. You getting Kamehameha, but eventually Goku needs to figure out a new move to defeat his enemy, and that's why it's so great. And I loved Dragon Ball Z when I was 10. Yeah. But SmackDown delivered a match that did not focus on finishers, but instead focused on like submissions and and a submission that was purposeful, like trying to get at Daniel Bryan's legs or AJ Styles and his arms, because we've got to get the Styles Clash going. Yeah. But then the two of the, oh God, it was such an amazing ending to turn the running knee into a Styles Clash. And think about, like, God, what was I just, I was watching a video on The Prestige. Remember that movie?
I love that movie. Yeah,
it really is such a Christopher Nolan. You've got two magicians going back and forth. One of them spends their entire life living almost a pro wrestler's life. They'll live in kayfabe to make a magic trick work, and the other person spends their entire life trying to figure out how that magic trick works.
Yeah.
The vlog
is that streaming right now, by the way?
I don't know. But
I want to rewatch it, but go ahead.
But the vlog I was watching said that the director, Christopher Nolan, is making the argument that even after you find out how everything's done in The Prestige, you appreciate the effort that went into it. There's a lot of effort that goes into finisher after finisher after finisher, but there's so much more effort that goes into, we have an hour to fight, and we're not going to do 50 finishers at the end of this. We're going to do new stuff throughout the entire match. And they did. And then they figured out Daniel Bryan, talk about effort. And I'm sorry I'm going on like a 10-minute rant here. Daniel Bryan jumped so fucking high that he can get over AJ Styles' shoulders. And AJ could grab him and turn it into a Styles Clash. Like, it's just, and they're not like huge brutes. This was one of the best endings to a match. I mean, besides the greatest match of all time that we'll talk about in a second. Mike, I can't stop gushing about this match. There's been appointment TV, and it's something that kind of faded away once Netflix and Hulu kind of like took control of what good TV is and Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
This was the first time in a long while that I was like, I don't care what I'm doing. I'm not playing video games. I'm not watching anything else. I'm not going to have something on in the background. I'm watching AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. Guys, I'm telling you right now, if you're a New Japan fan, I totally get it. I do totally get it, and I loved what I saw. But I'm also telling you that in a throwaway show that it wasn't like the, a main event on a pay-per-view. And obviously, New Japan, same argument. That's just a tournament, so they're going to go through the New Japan Cup. They're just going to go through each round. So there's going to be amazing matches throughout, and it's not the main event of that tournament. But this was... Man, this was a middle of June SmackDown. Just mwah, beautiful.
You know, I just you're not wrong on those points. I can't attest to what happened in New Japan because I haven't been watching it at 1.5 speed. I'm also not the overseer from the Matrix Reloaded, where I have 45 TVs I can just look around at. But I will say, ergo concordantly, vis-a-vis, that you have to look at the Goodest Wrestling Match Ever with the Greatest Wrestling Match Ever. And I think you kind of were when you were describing them. And
I thought you were about to say you have to watch the Goodest Wrestling Match Ever with the grainiest piece of salt. But go ahead. I really thought that's where you were going.
No. I'm just going to say the Greatest Wrestling Match Ever would have been an accurate title if it was called the Greatest WWE Wrestling Match Ever. And Friday was called the Greatest Bingo Hall Wrestling Match Ever. Because Friday was all about submission holds and like this Game of Thrones level of like one-upsmanship and cloak and dagger, like psychological. I'm saving this one bishop to, get you when your king's not paying attention. It's going to be checkmate. I'm setting up 5-6 moves from now. You're not even ready for this. And then Sunday was just kind of it was an Avengers movie. It was, how many big time laser, Hulk punches can we get in? Rock bottoms and, pedigrees and stuff like that. And it was given the right kind of because, when they do those, when wrestlers get to do those kind of moves, it's always like a little nod or a tip of the cap to the person who actually does the finisher, a la The Rock or Triple H in this case. But
yeah, you want to talk about like commentating ruining a moment?
Yeah,
like
it's
the Triple H's biggest rival was The Rock. That's probably why he's doing rock bottom. It's like, God damn it, let the moment happen.
And by the way, with that line, who ever thought Triple H and The Rock were the biggest rivalry? I thought it was always The Rock and Stone Cold. They had
1,000%.
They had the 3 matches at WrestleMania. I don't know, but I think both of them were supremely entertaining. It's incredible. It's a real bummer that Edge is going to be out for a while with that triceps injury, but he'll probably be back just in time for a little Royal Rumble.
Oh my God!
He can actually come back and win.
I really hope. Like, there's parts of me, like we're seeing across the country, the states that reopened early are now seeing more COVID-19 cases than they ever saw.
Oh, Florida? Yeah. Yeah, Florida, where they're shooting all the NXTs and SmackDowns and Raws? Is that what you're talking about?
You mean among the other 20 states?
Where we just had confirmed wrestlers catch COVID, and we haven't changed any of the procedures at ringside yet?
Right. How about we stop letting wrestlers run through the crowd? Can we talk about that real quick? I know it's not in our notes, but
I don't know why they...
It's become national news that the WWE and NXT, the WWE, have a pro wrestler that tested positive for COVID-19.
Yeah, and it's not just that they're shoulder to shoulder, which is something they did after they noticed AEW looking great. Like, the sound was awesome because those guys actually know how to chant. And I guess AEW is actually testing and WWE has not. They've just been asking people, 1 to 10. How COVID-y do you feel? All right, right this way. No mask, no gloves. Come on in. And lo and behold, somebody got sick. So,
yeah, it's a
how
bummer.
COVID-y? You're not COVID-y, are you? All right, come on in, you sick bastard. All right.
Goddamn, I had me 2 Coronas this morning. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, look at this guy drinking Coronas. But, and I do want to, I'm glad you brought that up just for one more little nugget. Didn't make it to the notes, but I feel like when I watch AEW, I don't know where they're putting the microphones, but the crowd sounds amazing. It's the right level where I feel like I'm at a full bingo hall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel overproduced. It doesn't feel overdone. It doesn't feel like anybody's stepping outside their bounds. It's the right kind of like applause and cheering for what I'm seeing. While WWE on Sunday was so desperate to have all their chants, they had the fake sound piped in for Edge and Orton. But
you know what?
That I'm fine with.
Yeah.
But when they would have the crowd go, "This is awesome." Oh, those guys sounded so exhausted. Like, holy they even had a holy shit, but it was really not good, man.
Holy shit.
Fight forever. Fight
Which match
forever.
did they do that for? I remember thinking this is appropriate.
Because I know they tried to do everything they could for the Edge and Orton match, and like I really like the old school referee got up with the little bow tie for little Nate. What's his name? Charles Robinson. I really thought that they were going to do it like Rocky style and totally like black out like the outside of the ring and just have these two guys go at it. You know.
Well, I think
they didn't do that.
Tried that with Ciampa and Gargano, and that was a huge. I will say, if they're gonna do these matches going forward, pump in the crowd noise. I don't care. It sounded great. I thought that added a ton to the match. Look. We talk ad nauseum about like this being a television show. Mike, if Game of Thrones can have a room full of guys, like it can say in the script, room full of dudes, cheers. Go ahead. Like, there's we don't know what a dragon sounds like, and they can do dragon roars. Throw in crowd noise. I'm totally cool with it. Make it sound like we have a packed WrestleMania arena. I can't stress enough that we're talking about a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
Do whatever you can. Don't focus too much on this needs to be based in reality. No.
Yeah.
It's a TV show. It's pro wrestling. If Game of Thrones can make up dragon sounds, you can put crowd noise in the show. I'm totally cool with it.
They're so focused on like AEW just kind of pull the camera back and you can see dudes like clapping and yipping it up. But WWE is so focused on, we got to get Casey Catanzaro right there. Let's see her going, oh, you know, I don't need to see, I love Casey. I love that she's hanging out with her best friend who was one time called Lacey, and now that's over because we have Lacey Evans. But I don't need to see those close-ups. I don't need to see her hear half-hearted, this is awesome. I don't know. I would have redone that. But, man, let's do a couple quick hits. We still got to get in the Wednesday Night Wars.
I know. Fuck.
Viking Profits. How you feel? We have a vaguely racist Akira Tozawa suddenly manages a bunch of ninjas. Matt, your thoughts?
All right. This is so hard to talk about because it's been like a meme goldmine. So I've been fully taking advantage of Akira Tozawa and his faction. Yes, it's absolutely horrible that it's super racist. But Mike, I get Akira Tozawa on TV, and I think we all know that Akira Tozawa's been my favorite guy in the cruiserweight division. So if he's actually being thrust into the tag team conversation, which is a step below the main event, I'm on board. And I'm also excited to see what they do with their Ninja Giant. So if we can just go, okay, this is kind of racist. Again, WWE has such a could it have just been Akira Tozawa walking out with a guy in a suit that's 7'3"? Absolutely, that would be the better way to do it. We're in the world we're in now, so please WWE change it. No more ninjas going forward. But when it comes to the talent of Akira Tozawa, who I think is at the tops of this company in regards to talent in the wrestling ring, him being on my TV is all I care about. So that decision, A+. Character decision, E-. But no, that the way they're doing that right now too, the Viking Profits, good on that too.
Yeah, well, any opportunity to get Tozawa on TV. I miss when he used to do the I used to do it like when I was watching at home. I thought it was a cool little.
You used to sign off with me doing it.
Yeah. This big dude. His name's Jordan Mugbehan, and he stands 7'3", man. He's actually taller than the Great Khali. He's a big ass motherfucker. You know, I guess he looms over people who've been training him. And he's been hanging out with you know, the old outsiders, you know, Nash and Hall. Yeah, he used to play basketball, and he's going to be the biggest guy in WWE. So, I don't know. It's not so bad for him. It kind of gave me an Enter the Dragon feel, you know, with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Tozawa. I don't know if that's what they were going for.
See, now that was racist.
It is not! God damn it. But, you know, it's they just had kind of another Bruce Lee documentary just recently came out, so I don't know if like Pritchard was, you know, in the back going, man, this documentary's great. Give me that tall guy from NXT. But I don't know. I maybe the less of this, the better, or find some way to not have Tozawa have to manage ninjas. That's what I'm looking for. Matt, moving on to our quick hits here. Bobby Lashley. I just want to touch on it for a minute because we give him a lot of grief. Matt, did he have maybe his best match since he's been back this past Sunday against the champ?
You know how I feel about this. So he almost killed Drew McIntyre, so let's not forget that.
Oh,
so,
it was a move.
It was a move. It was a botch that almost killed the WWE champion.
Well, these guys are so oiled up.
I got some shit on Twitter because I said, classic Bobby Lashley. He hasn't done this in a while.
Yeah, but
you know what,
Drew's like 260 pounds of oily watermelons. How are you supposed to carry that around?
Then don't do it. That's what
260 pounds of oiled up watermelon. Could you lift that?
That's what we said last year at Backlash when we said no. We called it Backlashley, and he was fighting Sami Zayn. I think, if that was 2 years ago. Jesus, God damn, I'm totally.
Time just flies. Yeah.
That does. Pro wrestling time is so different from like reality. The 1990s feels like the 1960s, probably based on the characters that existed, but...
Woo! Matt throwing shade! Get him, Matt! Go get him!
Here's what I was going to say. Bobby Lashley had the best match he's had because he fought with Drew McIntyre. Bobby Lashley's great, but he's not, like, amazing like Drew McIntyre has been absolutely amazing since being thrust into the main event scene. I love the idea of mixing MVP and Bobby Lashley. I don't know what MVP means to the WWE right now, if he's strictly a manager, if he wants to even wrestle. I saw some conversations online about exploring another tag team. I'm cool with that. But
you're going to say yes, but is there any doubt that MVP right now is top 10 in WWE on the microphone?
Is there any doubt? No.
Correct. He is outstanding.
Say yes.
Oh. Well, you never know with Matt. I don't know. Matt, continue.
Yes, there's doubt. Let me give you the top 10. Sami Zayn. Right. Bobby Lashley. No.
Oh, you're out at 2, Matt. You're out at 2. All right.
Do I have to do that? All right. Becky Lynch doesn't count, right? Because she's out.
Right. Okay. Sammy. Well, Sammy's out too. All right. So you got Drew.
All right. Kevin Owens. Drew McIntyre. Does NXT count?
Nope.
All right.
MVP's number 3 right now.
The New Day. So that's 5.
You can't do all of them. There's only 2 of them wrestling.
All right. Big E, Kofi. So I got to come up with
Yomi.
Randy Orton, Edge.
Edge, he's not. He's his tricep. He's out. All right,
yeah, MVP's in the top 10. I'm not saying he's not. I was just trying to figure it out. All right, you've got Asuka, Sasha.
Sasha? Come on, man.
I'm not putting putting Bailey in there. Sasha can fit in there.
I'm not putting either of them up there.
Sasha's screwed because of the story she's stuck in. Sasha can spit. Come on.
I'm the boss.
She's stuck in that. We know she can spit. Come on.
All right, I'll let you have one of them. You don't get both.
All right, moving on.
What about Finn Balor?
What about Finn? You said no NXT.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's.
Plus, he's terrible. What the fuck? All right, Mike, you created a new segment.
You didn't say Bray Wyatt, by the way, but go ahead.
Damn it. Well, he's not on my TV the last 2 weeks.
But it's not on
He's not on my TV.
It's on my TV.
So you created a new segment a few weeks back. It doesn't have to be a recurring segment because we can't just force these because then it's going to mean nothing.
Right.
It's called Tail Tucker. Mike, no, not Tucky from Heavy Machinery. It's
Tucky!
a spot where you backtrack your anger at a kind of recent booking decision that seems to be working out. Now, kind of recent booking is where I'm really going to take some privilege here. We've been super harsh on Randy Orton for like the last, I don't know, existence of the Brothers of Discussion. And at this point, I think we're finally seeing that Randy Orton was just held to the side while the rest of the main roster got built up. Because the second Randy got an opportunity to be, thrown back into something that actually mattered. And I'm including that WWE Championship match with Bray Wyatt where they had like earthworms in the ground. That was lame. That was dumb. I'm not signing up for that. But here I am throwing my promo out for Randy Orton. And does he need to hear it? No, because he's making millions of dollars. That pool that he takes Instagrams in front of all the time, that thing's fucking amazing. So he doesn't need to hear this from me. I need to say it for myself. Randy Orton's delivering some of the best work in the last decade of his career. And I am all about it. Obviously, he's fighting with Edge. And now he's fighting with Christian. Christian's dead now. It sucks for Christian. Yeah, he's totally dead. Rest in peace. But Randy pulling out the boot, the punt, whatever you want to call it, the punt is back. That is where Randy is at, like the prime Randy Orton. If you want a prime cut of Randy Orton, you gotta have him kick somebody in the head. And this is where it's at. And he's taking it to another level by doing it repeatedly and then remorsefully, like, I didn't want to do it, but you made me do it. And this is you're gonna interrupt my promo. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you do something a little more difficult, and I think it's only gonna make your point even more. Can you name 2 feuds that you've liked more than Randy's current one with Edge? For Randy.
So, you mean?
Because you could make the case this is the best work he's done. So I just got to hear 2
Randy Orton feuds.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say his stuff with John Cena and like looking back is actually pretty good. I don't know if this works because I like his work with Shawn Michaels. I liked his work with Ric Flair. I liked his stuff with Triple H and Batista.
Yeah, Mick Foley too.
Yeah, like you can rattle stuff off, but I think the better way for me to turn this around is just to go like I absolutely I absolutely despised the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton thing. I really felt like he was mailing it in. And that Bray was giving his all, and he was trying to be all sci-fi, and Randy was just killing it. And I don't mean that's a
he was killing
word.
It, dog.
He was killing it. Woo! Yeah, Randy's fucking killing it on Bray Wyatt. No, he was like killing the gimmick of Bray Wyatt, and I think that's part of the reason why Bray Wyatt had to turn into the Fiend was because of that feud with Randy Orton, and it made me angry at Randy. Like, it made me hate Randy Orton. And
yeah, I felt like he was tanking it for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think right now to probably the better way to pivot this is to just say absolutely. Like this this feud with Edge is probably his best. Like I said it's his best in a decade. It's off the top of my head, I can't even remember when the Mick Foley Randy Orton stuff was, but I'm a huge fan of Mick Foley, and I read his books, and Mick was not a huge fan of those feuds. He just knew the matches paid off, but he felt he was mailing it in, so that actually hurt my feelings towards Randy Orton and Mick Foley. But no, I absolutely love what he's doing with Edge. I love that he murdered Christian, and I want to see who he's going to murder next. And unfortunately, it might be Drew McIntyre. Especially with we had our planned SummerSlam, and
I wanted the Maharaja, and he's just he's been suddenly off. Oh, he got hurt. Oh, I didn't see that.
Major injury, surgery. Dunzo.
Damn it.
It's okay. That's more of a late fall type thing anyway. But Randy and Drew McIntyre at whatever SummerSlam ends up being, I think that's a better idea.
You know, this might be a little esoteric, but the one thing I think that's really set Randy apart from like some of his recent
actually
feuds.
Pronounced asshole tearing, but go ahead.
Oh my god. So esoteric.
This is more asshole tearing. Go ahead.
Like, you know how there's all different kinds of folks, and like in a stand-up arena, there's like Kevin Hart, right? He's loud, lots of people like him, and he's perfect for like an arena. Then there's somebody like, I don't know, give me like Tig Notaro. So that's the esoteric part. She's kind of a more low-key comedian. She likes telling these long stories, but there'll be a big punch at the end. And I feel like Randy Orton, since he's left that arena setting where he's got to like pause in between people booing him, and his promos are kind of cookie cutter to make sure he gets that boo, but still has time to get his point across. I feel like he's been doing really, really well, like in a quieter setting. So he doesn't feel forced to like, you know, spew out the passage that he's supposed to get through that week. I feel like he's been able to kind of like milk moments. He's been able to kind of set his own pace verbally. I feel like it's really been a huge benefit to him, this kind of environment.
No, I totally agree with that. I kind of go back to like when we were talking about AEW and how I felt about Chris Jericho. I know you loved Chris's work without a crowd, but I really think he does like to have a crowd. It means so much to him because he could say anything and he's going to get laughs at this point with AEW crowd. I think with Randy and with Edge, who's I mean, we all watched the documentary. He's taken acting classes. I think what we just got was two guys that are perfect to have no audience and to sell a feud and to sell a match. And I think this will be the real test for Randy. Does he still care? Because we talked about Bray Wyatt. What's our opinion on that? He didn't care enough. He didn't care enough to sell Bray Wyatt's gimmick. And maybe Randy, if he was here right now, he would argue that. I would say just from my perspective and watching that feud, he didn't care enough. Is he going to care enough? And, you know, if he's outside of the main event picture, is that the only option for him right now? Maybe. Keep him off TV till he can announce or win a match to become the number one contender. Mike, hot tag. Would you rather see Randy Orton go up against... What? Okay, this is pretty wild. Let's put three guys in the ring here. McIntyre's not losing that belt. Would you rather see Randy go up against Drew McIntyre, Braun Strowman, or The Fiend? Real quick, I got my answer.
I guess The Fiend. I'll try and defend that one too. I don't think Randy's the right dance partner for Drew. I think Drew, he's just on all cylinders right now, and I don't think that Randy Orton pace is conducive to benefit Drew McIntyre. No. And because Randy's going to have to lose that feud, I don't think that it's a good idea for him. I think if he was against Braun right now, I think people are already kind of souring on Braun, that it's just kind of like, I mean, it's nice you had your turn with the title, but I mean, we're kind of limited because you're get these hands and you're a big choo-choo man.
He had to fight in a fucking handicap match to find something that made sense. No, Mike,
I think it's the Fiend.
You picked the best one. Because we're going to come back to my argument from this past fall that the Fiend...
The Bray Wyatt revenge tour.
Yes. That's what this should always have been about. And he got his revenge. The best revenge he could have gotten on John Cena. Absolute best way to tell that story.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, and now he can't fight Dean Ambrose, but we can go back to that WrestleMania match and have Randy Orton, the Fiend, retell that story. And I say this, let's not do another greatest match ever. Let's do another John Cena type thing. Let's have the Fiend like completely tear Randy Orton apart, because I worry about how high Randy is right now and where he can go from here. Because I don't know if it's right to give him the title and have the Fiend lose to Randy Orton. I think Randy's got to lose, and I think he's got to stay out of the picture, maybe till Edge comes back. All right, Mike, we got the Wednesday Night Wars.
Let's do it.
Woo! All right.
Hey, once again, I got AEW. I think I won this week. You got NXT.
Absolutely did. This was a chore of all chores, and I had two.
I liked NXT.
I had two tag team championship matches, and I could not have been more bored with the middle of this show. That I give it a D based on everything that happened between the two tag championship matches.
So here's how we've been doing this, folks. We give our top 3 moments from each show, and then right before we do our number 1, there's always an honorable mention. But Matt, NXT, Blast, in Matt's eyes, Matt, moment number 3 from the world of Next Extra Time Wrestling. I don't know what NXT stands for.
All right, so
what happened in next Extra Time? Come on.
I know 2 items that need to fit into my top 3. So here's the thing, everybody. The only good thing about the winner take all being booked was William Regal, and I tweeted out at that moment that was William Regal schooling those 4 guys on like 15 seconds on how to show enthusiasm and passion. And none of those 4 showed any enthusiasm or passion. Adam Cole, now it's been edited out on Hulu, couldn't even get Karrion Kross's name right. I love Adam Cole. I absolutely love Undisputed Era. I have all of their t-shirts.
You know who else does is Billy Gunn. I don't know if you saw his logo on AEW, but that's the fucking Undisputed Era logo, you son of a bitch.
I love that you pointed that out. Mike, I think what we're seeing too, Keith Lee can't cut a 30-second, like, I'm here to beat you, I'm tougher than you. He's too giggly. Like, he's too soft-spoken. He's got to get tougher. Gargano comes out next, and he's cracking jokes that are just absolutely horrible. They're not landing at all. And even at one point, cracked a joke on either Finn Balor or Adam Cole, and they didn't even, like, they just kind of went like, okay, and then continued their promo, because it was like, dude, that was fucking horrible. Shut the fuck up. So Gargano is not nailing the heel Gargano. And I've been talking about this for weeks, that I think it's a terrible
Wow, this was
move.
moment number 3. Oof.
This is
or the moments that didn't make it.
This is what didn't make it. And then Finn Balor comes out, and Finn Balor's been Finn Balor. Like, it's just kind of blah. He comes out and says, Keith Lee, I don't know if you remember, I challenged you last week, but after I beat you, then I'm going to come after the NXT championship. And it's just kind of like, really, like, you're going to spell it out like a DC Comics villain? Like, okay, we get it. All right, cool. So all that mess happens, and it's fine, and I can't wait for those matches, but that segment, that fucking blew. And that was like the middle of the show. That was the tune in for this. Here's your 4 top main event superstars on NXT, and it sucked. All right. So, Mike, another thing that sucked too, Aaliyah has no business beating Xia Li. And that should never happen.
I have such a crush on Xia Li. It kills me every time she loses because I love her offense.
It's insane.
I love her look. I love her offense. I don't know what more they want. It seems like she can sell. I don't know.
All right, so to wrap it all up, number 3, and Mike, you know the real story of me watching this, but I've got to pick Imperium defeating Breezango. Mike, I absolutely love the storytelling in this match.
I love Imperium. I love Marcel. I love Fabian. I love saying their names. And I love that their matches, it's just such a violent sprint. It's like a sprint for 20 minutes where they take turns sprinting and doing this British strong style wrestling. It's outstanding. And Fabian, he's that little man. He's just a little angry cannonball, and he goes flying over the top rope, and I can't get enough. I'm surprised. It's probably my next shirt, but first I got to get some AEW swag. But yeah,
Mike, you're number 3.
I'm sorry I stole your thunder. I'm just so excited about Imperium. I love seeing them. My moment number 3, and there was a lot of freaking tag team matches on AEW. It was a lot of fun. Probably the Young Bucks going up against Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc. Not only because they tried to incorporate like Butcher and Blade and FTR came out. Everybody was it wasn't a lumberjack match, but everybody was kind of sitting to see how this would turn out, because AEW so strongly wants to push, the wins and losses matter. Excalibur was saying, the Young Bucks, you know who the Young Bucks are, and the rankings, they're only like 5, and that's crazy because you know who the Young Bucks are. They're the Young Bucks. So it's kind of like, okay. And it was just, I think some people kind of have an idea of what a Young Bucks match is, or it kind of feels like the rules get tossed out the window so that we can have, more tag team spots. But this one kind of had a more traditional feel to it, where they did somewhat obey the rules. The match swung on Matt Jackson's back and rib injury. So it was kind of a back and forth, like whether or not Nick could protect him or not. So it was just kind of nice to see the Bucks. It's like it was a little reminder that they choose to wrestle, like Taco Bell, think outside the box. And it's not that they can't wrestle within the rules. They choose not to because stylistically they prefer the other way. But to see them kind of, hone it down, use those traditional, tag team wrestling expectations in a match, to see them use that, it was fun to see. And then it turned into a schmaz, so, that's why it's only moment number 3. But that, moment number 2 from Next Extra Time Wrestling on USA.
Mike, I couldn't be more excited that we actually get to care about the Cruiserweight Championship. And I talked last week about Santos Escobar, who used to be El Hijo de Fantasma, pulling the mask off. You know what? The story got a little muddied. And I think I'd make this number 1 if they didn't fuck up telling the story. But El Hijo was talking about being de Fantasma for the last 20 years. And then he started talking about, the mask being worn by someone else for the last 20 years. And at that point, I was just like, okay, that's what I thought you meant. So let's just forgive the last couple of minutes. Because he's young. He's super young. So yeah. It just didn't make sense. But then when he finally came around and had it all make sense, then I was like, yeah, fuck Phantasma. Be Santos Escobar. But, Mike, we're getting a faction and a story built through the Cruiserweight Championship that I actually care about. And they're giving it not just like that pre-match, 30 seconds, you're going to talk to someone behind the curtain and then you're going to go out and fight. No, this was an entire segment built around a promo. And Drake Maverick came out to take out, I didn't write down my version of the Dark Order in Spanish, but Drake Maverick actually did a pretty good job of taking out the entire team. But obviously, it's their favorite thing to say. The numbers game overwhelms on Drake
Orden
Maverick. But
Oscuro.
I think Escobar needs to walk away with the title, but this is a great way to keep Drake Maverick interesting, and this is a great way to kick off the Cruiserweight Championship, because you've still got your former title holder that's waiting in the wings. I mean, you've got other tournaments that you could throw together. I hope at this point that the writers are putting together the next storyline, or maybe even another faction, God forbid. But to me, it means so much, and it has to be recognized that the Cruiserweight Championship is getting this sort of attention. So kudos WWE, kudos NXT, and you are the number 2. Again, you shore up, Santos, you shore up that promo, you're number 1. But because you confused it so much and fucked it up, number 2. Mike, you're number 2.
Number 2, AEW went to the lengths to make sure that we had a full-fledged background on Anna Jay, who came out in a bit of a putting on the Ritz vibe. She had a little hat, she had a little cane. She was, almost like a silver, like if Mr. Peanut was like hot, a sexy Mr. Peanut. She came out there, Mr. Peanutted, and we saw this.
Peanutted. Oh, there we go.
She came out peanutted, and then they had this nice intro video for her, like, I've lost, and now I'm going to win. And all of that came to a screeching halt when the horrific Abaddon came out, looking like a zombie from 28 Days Later. Mismatched contact lenses on. She's got, gore all over her face. She came out and just annihilated Anna Jay. So it was definitely a bit of a swerve by the AEW bookers, who bothered to give us a 5-minute intro on Anna Jay, only to see her get crushed by this demonic zombie creature, who was a blend a bit, if you missed it, if you're more of a WWE fan, it kind of looked like Nikki Cross and The Fiend, and like a bucket of blood, just kind of all stirred together and, molded into this awful golem that came out of the earth. I'm excited to see her. I've read that she's not officially signed to AEW. If they don't sign her, that is a mistake.
She is all elite according to Twitter. So whatever you want that to mean.
I would definitely pay to see her. I would definitely pay for that shirt. I was terrified. Matt, that brings us to next Extra Time Wrestling's number 1 moment. What do you got?
I mean, this is easy peasy. I gave kind of a critical analysis of this match before you and I started recording, but it's Banks Bailey, Blackheart, and Tegan Knox. It was fun to watch, but the thing that hurt was that you knew without a shadow of a doubt. Love saying that, old school wrestling. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Bailey and Sasha were walking away with this win. It definitely killed the match, and it's one of those things where it's like, all right, this is the absolute best thing that happened on NXT, but we knew the ending. So that's why, to me, this show fell so far below what AEW was able to produce, because even their best match was super predictable. The only thing is that you get this, you put Shotzi Blackheart on the main event, and this girl comes out rolling out in a tank, and she really is defining herself as like a main event talent, and this is someone that you want to tune in for. Even when she's not wrestling, Mike, she's on SmackDown and Raw, she's cheering her nuts off. Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. She's cheering her nuts off. She's doing squats. She's taking advantage of like being out there and having to watch these other matches, the main event matches. Shotzi to me is like the girl that is she's the superstar. She's the pro wrestler that is doing everything she needs to do according to what the company says you need to do. She's given 110% that way, and then she's also super entertaining. And she's got what it takes to be, to put together an interesting match. So I just, you can't fault this match, but you you can, from a booking perspective, that there is no way, after having all the opportunity in the world to give the belts to somebody else on the main event roster, to book this 3 nights later and have us think for a second that Bayley and Sasha were going to lose these belts. I again say that Sasha will turn on Bayley. They're just waiting. We all know that. But what I'm saying is they're waiting until there's a crowd back in play because they want to hear that crowd reaction. They know that they're going to get a major pop because everybody's just chomping at the bit for this. So, Mike, with that, it was a great match. Not the greatest of all time. Definitely not the goodest of all time. But it was... you know what? It was the main event on NXT on Wednesday. It deserved to be the main event. Not a great show, though, beneath that. Mike, you're number 1.
Yeah, I forgot to include it earlier, but my little honorable mention was probably the Omega and Paige versus Dustin and QT Marshall. If only because Dustin, in his ripe old age, as he's, hitting that 50 plateau.
Yeah.
It's still such a, he just knows his body so well. Whether he's doing a whisper of the wind off the top turnbuckle, he's still putting some stank on his power slam. It's, he's a guy I have not noticed him age at all. So just bravo to how he takes care of himself, takes care of his opponents. Great stuff. But number 1 match was the Sex Gods and the Best Friends. It was a tag team title number 1 contendership match. So I thought that Sammy Guevara and Jericho had it, in the bag. Sammy being, one of the futures of that company, Jericho being the present of that company. And it's, a match that's going to be a fighter fest. So it's not like a small potato. It's, supposed to have a lot of eyeballs on it. But Chuck and Trent, I think they did a really good job of selling the stakes of the looking a lot more violent than usual, not focusing so much on the hugs. It looked like they actually cared about getting a chance at a championship. But obviously the biggest part of this story was that, for the finish, the Sex Gods tripped over this cameraman, who it was almost like he was planted there on purpose, leading to Chuck and Trent winning. And, of course, the cameraman was Orange Cassidy in disguise. So the big story here is that Orange is going to get a one-on-one match versus Jericho at Fighter Fest. Lest we forget, Matt, that Jericho laid down for Fandango. So we know there's nobody he won't lay down for. It's not just that Cassidy's getting a little bit more of a serious push, in terms of him getting to fight Jericho. He actually got to be a little violent. When he entered the ring, he actually, did a dive and a little bit of a Thez press, ground and pound on Jericho. So I don't know if he's actually going to change the gimmick up because it's, such good money for him. But it was nice to, again, see all the best friends kind of give a hoot about these AEW wins and losses. So I'm inspired to watch that match. I'm inspired to watch Fyre Fest. I'm inspired to watch even more AEW. So ultimately, this episode was a rousing success.
Yeah, I just can't help but like I feel like I automatically on Wednesdays I turn on NXT. It's probably because my Comcast application on my phone knows that that's what I turn on, so that's the first button I see. But I can't help but think that I want to stop watching NXT. I mean, let's break the fourth wall. I post NXT posts. Nobody gives a fuck except for Amy. Amy, got you, girl.
You are.
We got to get you on
angel.
the show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. You are God.
Every fart in the
so
wind tweet, you find a way to be like, well, I'm not going to retweet it, but maybe I'll favorite it, and then they won't hang themselves. So I really appreciate the bad tweets that she, shows.
One of these days, just Amy's face is going to be back here. But, I mean, besides Amy, nobody gives a fuck about the NXT tweets because nobody's actually watching it. I don't know how the numbers get so close every week, but when you look at the amount of people on Twitter that are liking AEW tweets versus the amount of people liking NXT tweets, you definitely get a good sense of the crowd that's actually watching NXT. Maybe just the crowd that really enjoys CSI and they don't have the wherewithal to change the channel once NXT gets going. But anyway, let's wrap this show up. Mike, AEW gets the victory. Hats off. A turd sandwich of a show for NXT, but 2 weeks in a row. I don't know how AEW is going to be able to compete. Triple threat for the North American title. Then you've got the, or I guess this might be 2 weeks out of 3. Anyway, then the NXT Championship match on July 8th. I couldn't be more excited. I hate when people get that phrase wrong. I couldn't be more excited for that. I think that is great. I think they just missed the mark on the promo. That should have been something that, you know what? God damn it. You guys. I
couldn't be less excited right now.
You could say cut. There's nobody there.
And we got it.
Just say
we got it.
Cut. Redo the promo. I'm going to say it right now. I don't give a fuck. I don't need it to look live. Say cut. Redo the whole thing. Tell them, like, go in the back, Triple H, grab Gargano and say, shut the fuck up. You're not funny. Finn, start acting like you give a fuck about this company. Cole, get everybody's goddamn name right. God damn it. And Keith Lee, we let you almost beat Roman Reigns. So how about you go out there and act like you give a fuck? All right.
Keith Lee, you're a big bear. All right?
From the Brothers of Discussion.
We need you to stop acting like a panda and be more of a grizzly. You get out there and you maul somebody.
Jesus. Stop being so giggly. Dude, you're fucking massive. You could literally
What are you laughing at? We put you out there with Gargano on purpose to stop you from laughing.
Yeah.
It doesn't get less funnier than him.
All right. So if you want to keep your laughs going, head on over to bodpodcast.com and brothersofdiscussion.com. You can find us on Instagram as brothers_of_discussion. You'll have all the episodes on IGTV. Also, our YouTube channel, we would greatly appreciate a subscribe. That's just the Brothers of Discussion. And the best thing you can do for us is head on over to Apple Podcasts and go to the Brothers of Discussion. Subscribe, rate, and review for us. We greatly appreciate anybody that's thrown in a review recently.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 different things to help you out. Is if you go to bodpodcast.com and you are in need of some CBD products, we have a bar right at the top of the website that you can click. You can not only buy 2 items, get 1 free, but you're also going to be helping out the Brothers of Discussion. So when you make that purchase, we actually get commission for the sale.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we get that free item. No, you get the free item. We get commission for the sale. Number 2, number 2 on the priority list. And right now, Amy, you are our number 1 subscriber. We love you to death. But if you go to anchor.fm right now, we are accepting donations for the show to continue to expand. I know it's not taking up a huge percentage, but I just want to let everybody know I did just purchase some new items that are going to help the show starting in July. So that is the type of things we're looking to buy so that we can start to go live, so that when we connect to the internet, these things actually work. We've had some trouble in the past. We want to do live episodes for you guys. We want to have interaction live. We want to do Q&A. And for that, we need better internet connection. I need a better laptop. We need a better setup here in my basement. So that's where we're asking at anchor.fm/brothers of discussion. You can make a donation to the show if you've been enjoying the show for this long. We would appreciate anything.
If you give us some money, if you give us enough money, maybe we'll stop.
Yeah, you got it. So here's the thing. You're going to become a superstar on the show. We're going to start giving you some content just for yourself. I mean, including right now, like, I'm going to say this. Mike, we said it last week. It's not just content. I mean, a very good friend of mine right now is Amy, who we've mentioned a couple times on the show. We chat throughout the week. I mean, I'm not saying you're paying for our friendship, but I can't stop giving to Amy. So it's one of those things where, give a little, give a lot, but we're trying to expand the show. And if you give now, we are doing so much to expand it that once we are at that point where we're ready to just go like boom and blow up, you are going to be a major part of that. And we will never stop shouting out your name. But all of that put together, we greatly appreciate anybody that's just listening to the show. If you can do the most important thing again is that Apple Podcast subscribe, rate, and review. That's what means the most to the show, expanding to a grander audience, and we can start to say, you know what, we've got another buddy. Subscribe, rate, and review, and we'd love to have another one of you that are listening right now to do us that favor. We greatly appreciate it. Now, for the Brothers of Discussion, we hope you enjoyed another episode. Mike, we actually don't have a pay-per-view. I think we need to get ready for it next week. So
keep
rolling out regular shows.
We're taking a break.
Oh man, if we could find a time where there wasn't wrestling, like if we were just a New Japan show, could you imagine? Like what a great break we just had.
I'm gonna maybe I'll watch some Kota Ibushi unless he lost in the first round.
I think we should watch New Japan. I think we have some listeners out there that want to hear our take.
All right, let's get on it, Matt.
Let's do it. Brothers and
Go right
sisters,
now.
everybody. Thank you for listening.